Today I'm going to be teaching you how to stand up paddleboard. Before we get into proper form, paddle length, paddling technique, how to get on the board, it's important to know that you got to have the right equipment. And it's really obvious, but you need a paddleboard. With a paddleboard, you got to make sure you have your PFD, paddle, see if I can get out of the frame, your leash, and anything else that's going to require you to have fun on the water, be safe, and help you succeed in the best possible way. But you got to make sure you have a board. So getting a board is one thing, but it's also important to get a board that's right for you. Okay, it's different for everybody. You got to know the proper lengths, the widths, the height of the board. You got to know all that. Okay, you got to understand PFDs. That's your personal flotation device. That's going to help you stay safe on the water if you fall off. But you got to make sure you have the proper equipment before you even jump into the water, before you could even try having fun on the water. So before you get on the water, like I said, it's important to have a flotation device. So this is my PFD, and it's an Onyx movement. I'll have a link to that product in the description below. It's a kayaking, fishing type PFD. Now there's two ways you can do it. You can either have it on the front of the board and the bungee right there, or you can wear it. Wearing it's obviously much safer. Other thing that I've talked about in previous videos is the leash. Always make sure that leash is attached to you from the get-go. That way if the board shoots out from underneath you, it's not going to go anywhere, and you're going to be able to get to your board quicker, which is going to help you stay safer on the water. Okay. Now, a paddle is an essential part of paddling. As you can see, I'm about 5'9", and this is how high my paddle goes. So paddles are adjustable. Okay, you'll get 2-piece, 3-piece paddles. And if you open up the little notch right here, you can see the paddle can go up and down. But what you want to do is make sure that the paddle is long enough to where your arm is slightly bent at the top. So not a 90-degree angle, but you want a slight bend just about there. That is the proper length of a paddle. Next part about a paddle that's really important and tricky to understand is paddles have a little swoop design at the bottom. Okay, so you can see it's not perfectly straight, but when you're going through the water, you want to make sure you're paddling with the end of the paddle pointing out like that. Okay, what you don't want to do is have it scoop toward you. It's less efficient. You're gonna be throwing water everywhere, so you want to make sure the paddle design or the paddle scoop is facing out, and you're paddling with the water. Step for paddling is actually getting on your board. Probably the part all of y'all came here for. So when you get on your board, first thing you want to do is you're going to have your fin. Now, obviously with me being in the grass, obviously I'm not anywhere near water, but being in the grass, I took my back fin off, but the board's sitting pretty flat right now. But if the fin was on there, it'd be sitting up here-ish. Okay, so it's gonna be in, but what you want to do is make sure that back fin is completely submerged, so when you get on the board, you're not going to be hitting bottom. All right, so basically a good rule of thumb is probably going to be, I don't know, knee height. You know, you're gonna be up to your knees in water. It's just a safe bet. You don't want to jump in and break your fin, especially like me. My Aqua Planet's from the UK, and I think it'd be a pain to reach all the way out to the company to send a replacement fin. So deeper water is always better safe than sorry. Before you even get going, you want to make sure, oh, can't get the leash off. You want to make sure you attach your leash to your leg. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now. So your board's in the water. Next step is getting on the board. So you have your paddle. You grab your paddle, and you're going to find the center of the board. So the balance of the board, anytime you see a handle on a board, that's the safest bet of where the center of balance is going to be. Now that you're in the water, what you want to do is make sure your knees are where your feet want to be. Okay, so your knees are down, you're paddling from your knees, and remember, paddling from your knees, there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly okay to paddle from your knees in the beginning, and even in the end. When my feet get tired, I go to my knees and I start paddling from my knees. Kind of give myself a break. Remember, paddle boarding is an amazing workout, and you'll find out soon enough. So you want to start standing up. Okay, you paddle a little bit. What you're going to do, you're going to place the paddle in your hands. You're going to put your knuckles down on the board. you're going to bring a foot. I'm going to use my right foot. It could be your left foot. I'm going to bring my right foot right next to my handle. And then what I'll do is I'll bring my left foot up next to my handle on the opposite side. And the problem a lot of people make here is they keep their eyes down at the water of the board because they're afraid of losing balance. That's a big no-no. So what you want to do, once you have your feet set where they want to be, you want to keep your eyes up as much as you can and trust your balance. So I got my feet set. What I'm going to do now, lift my head up and slowly rise up. And then you should have a better feel for being balanced. Now what you do, you find the top of your paddle and you're just going to paddle nice and slowly. Now, proper paddling form that you'll see that's typically off is people will kind of loosey-goosey it, okay? So what you want to do, you want to make sure that if you raise your hands, they're about shoulder width apart, okay? Now, when you go to paddle, you want to make sure the top arm is always straight as much as you can. It's going to give you more leverage and more power. So I'm just going to bring my hand down for a quick demonstration because of the ground. So if I go to paddle, I want to make sure my paddle is as vertical as I can. Then when you go to switch hands, you want to bring the hand that was on the bottom and replace it in the exact same spot the hand in the top was. That way you can reach out and keep paddling, okay? Now with paddle boarding, you're going to notice that you don't have to keep switching sides to paddle, that you can continue to paddle on the same side, and eventually you'll start to veer off. That's when you're going to do the switch, okay? Another point is when you are standing up, you want to make sure that you don't lock your legs out. You never want to lock your legs out on the board. You always want to have a degree of bend in your knees and keep your weights on the balls of your feet, okay? Kind of like an athletic position, let's say football, baseball if you're stealing a base, any sport, you want to be in an athletic position. That way when, like a 6-inch wake in any body of water, it's not that much, but on a paddleboard, you're gonna feel it, okay? So if you're not used to the board going up and down, you're gonna make sure that your legs and your body is ready to brace it, because if not, you're gonna fall in. But it's okay if you fall in. So remember, balls of your feet, slight bend in the knee, try to keep your back arched a little bit. You want to be in an athletic position because again, this is a full body workout that you're gonna have a blast with. So moving in to the idea of falling. Falling is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with falling. Actually, Pat Casey, he was in one of my first videos. He used to be an LL Bean instructor for paddleboarding and rafting and kayaking and all that fun stuff. But one of the first things he told me was that as soon as you get up for the first time, the first thing that he used to teach people was to fall down. Simply fall down, jump in the water. That way you can learn how to get back up on the board, but it also takes the fear of falling out. For some reason, people have a fear of falling in the water. Yes, there is an unknown of what's underneath you, but you'll be surprised how much you can see when you stand up. Just as long as you make sure you're in deep enough water, you have a PFD on if you're unsure, but falling in the water is a good idea. It for some reason takes that fear out. You just got to make sure you have an idea of what's underneath you. Then you can work on getting back on the board, which isn't difficult. Now, I understand there's a fear of falling in cold water. Cold water sucks, okay? But don't be afraid to fall, okay? So to wrap it up, make sure, one, you have proper equipment. Proper equipment is always huge. Make sure your paddle length is the right way. Make sure the blade is facing the right way when you're paddling. PFD, make sure you have it, either have it on your body or at the front of the board for a quick grab. And making sure you're in a nice athletic stance at the top of the board. Other than that, it's all about having fun and enjoying your time on the water, okay? No point of being scared. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this was informative for you. So, if you enjoyed it, you liked it, you got something out of it, please smash the like button, leave a comment down below, and hopefully you can subscribe. I want to thank everybody. I'm at the point now where we're getting past family members subscribing, which love family and friends, but I'm starting to get some people who I don't know starting to subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate everybody who's doing that and supporting me for this. The goal is to teach you guys. But I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys next time.